with Caitlyn Jenner already has 500K likes. It is sad how some people in this country are willing to do anything for fame and money. They lose their morals down in order to receive the spotlight and to represent some kind of improper icon for even more improper movement. Will we ever get our country back? I think yes, there is a possibility of this because many people slowly are opening their eyes. A few weeks ago people lost their minds after Trump took to Twitter to announce his decision about banning transgendered people from the military. Moments later many people blamed him, and one of them is Caitlyn Jenner, formerly known as Bruce Jenner. She and everyone else who bash on Trump did not understand the point of being a military person and what in fact that role represents. She can do whatever she wants with her body, but she should not put her nose on topics like these. Remember that even she got an SPY award? Well, yes, she did, and Franklin Graham connected many dots and shared his opinion on Facebook regarding this matter, reports Clash Daily. He wrote, Caitlyn Jenner is being honored with the ESPN SPY Award for courage? I find this hard to swallow after spending time with wounded military veterans and their spouses with Operation Heal Our Patriots. They are true heroes and their lives define courage. Some have had 30 or 40 surgeries, not to change their gender, but to try to put their bodies back together after defending our country. And to recognize the very confused Caitlyn Jenner as a hero before the entire world? Give me a break. If you want an example of real courage, it's when Jesus Christ willingly allowed himself to become your sin and died in your place on the cross, the righteous one for the unrighteous. What an extraordinary comment by Reverend Graham. Ben Carson finally says no more, announces he is officially overturning. Liberals do not like President Trump, so of course, they won't like his administration either. They criticize almost every single member of that administration, but for some unknown reason, they criticize Ben Carson the most. When it comes to this man, they often say how he is unqualified for his job without realizing that this man is proving otherwise. He is indeed qualified and does the job very well. This country's best brain surgeon is best in his government-given job. Only a few months ago he was the one who helped uncover $500 billion worth of clerical errors in the HUD budget. Should I say that these errors were ignored by the Obama administration, or you already know? This week the man stroked again, according to Young Cons. His department is trying to reverse the Obama administration's policy and return to a competitive bidding process to award Section 8 housing, according to a well-placed source in the department. This move will twist around the Obama-era-style methodology of using a grant-style process that was rebuked by administrators and ultimately the U.S. Supreme Court. One Department of Housing and Urban Development official said that every single step that is necessary to change this back is taken, but refused to comment or to give any further information about the case due to fear of tainting the bidding process. At this point, basically, everything that came out of Obama, even the grant style, was a total disaster. Dr. Carson is doing an amazing job and is doing the changes we all need. President Trump made no mistake by giving him this position. Another win for the conservatives and another step for making America great again. President Trump makes historic deal Obama never could close and entire world's cheering. President Trump knows how to make a good deal. He's been doing it his whole life in his private business, and he vowed he would bring that deal-making acumen to the White House and put it to work for the American people. And after years of failed leadership and terrible deals, America embraced Trump and shocked the world by electing him. Advertisement, and despite the media's attempts to say otherwise, we are glad we did and are happy with the way things are going. Especially when it comes to China and North Korea. Because Trump just got China to do something that Obama never could get done. And the whole world is breathing a big sigh of relief. According to Reuters, China will finally join and what's more, strongly enforce some gut-wrenching sanctions against North Korea. At a huge cost to China. They will pay a massive price related to the new UN sanctions against North Korea because the two countries have close economic ties. But they will go along with the sanctions because Trump is making it happen. He used every negotiating trick in the book and some he made up on the spot to get it done, and in the process shamed Obama and his utter incompetence. Speaking at a regional security forum in Manila on Monday, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said, owing to China's traditional economic ties with North Korea, it will mainly be China paying the price for implementing the resolution. But in order to protect the international non-proliferation system and regional peace and stability, China will, as before, fully and strictly properly implement the entire contents of the relevant resolution. Trump said about the historic deal. Right after suing Trump, Rams busted siphoning off $55 million in massive scandal. President Trump knows that Rahm Emanuel is a liar. He is the mayor of Chicago and is one of the most corrupt individuals in politics. He is one in a long line of corrupt Chicago mayors. The lawsuit that Rahm Emanuel brought against the Dodge is clearly a fake. His fake lawsuit against the Dodge's promise to pull funding from sanctuary cities is a distraction from the $55 million scandal in Chicago that hit airwaves last week. Advertisement: the aldermen of Chicago and city officials have called out Emanuel of redirecting $55 million into funds that were designated to aid the poor, and mostly black portion of Chicago's South Side. He instead rerouted the tax funds and no one noticed because it wasn't disclosed on the tax bills. What happens in Chicago, stays in Chicago. You can understand why Emanuel would be so desperate to divert attention from this scandal and, so far, it's worked. By Sunday, Emanuel had announced his $3 million federal lawsuit, claiming the Trump administration was blackmailing the city of Chicago and the national news outlets ate it up, Rahm versus Trump. Unsurprisingly that the mainstream media is refusing to cover the debacle in Chicago. He claims he is worried about the $3 million that Chicago will lose if they refuse to cooperate with immigration laws. He said he wanted the money to purchase some cop cars. What is he doing with that $55 million he redirected? It's been dubbed a slush fund scheme for money laundering. That $55 million could have helped Chicago's struggling public schools. It could have purchased those police vehicles Rahm says he's so concerned about or put more cops on the street. Chicago ended July with more than 400 murders, putting the city on pace to exceed the number of killings in 2016 with 781 homicides. Lord knows Chicago could use more cops. Yes, the poor of Chicago are suffering because Emanuel embezzled $55 million that was designated to assist them. Advertisement: should Trump sue him? Claims against Eric Bolling fizzle out after Michelle Fields reveals explosive new info. There is a possibility that this whole scenario with Eric Bolling is nothing but another witch hunt. According to multiple different stories around him by women on Fox News, this thing is turning into something that we all experienced with Trump and Russia. Fake scenarios in order to take one man down. Different stories like this without evidence proving otherwise says that this thing is based on lies and malicious intent. It all started with Bill O'Reilly and we all know how that ended, so, due to that reason, Fox News became a very easy target and they all think that it will be the same path in order to win against this big company. I do not say that there was nothing going on in the first place. Allegations like these do not happen overnight without a reason, but indeed there is so much to this story that it is presented. Every fight and every story have two ends and that is why we need to hear Bolling as well. I did hundreds of appearances on Fox and Fox Business from 2008 to 2011, and had multiple experiences with Bolling that caused grave concern to my friends and family, Carolyn said, but there is no current evidence that any of this actually happened. Bolling referred to me as Dr. Mkati on air on 4 different occasions, and called me smart, beautiful, and wrong on air twice. I pushed back with Mr. Mk, but I shouldn't have had to. This on-air behavior was perfectly acceptable to Fox executives at the time, she continued. So according to this talk of hers, there is nothing actually going on. Why? Because she repeats and says pretty much the same thing. Carolyn talks about how she was mistreated while on air with him often, but she has not gone into any more detail on the images that she was sent, thinks World Politicus. This story was originally published by Huffington Post and she even mentioned how Bolling sent the same photos to multiple other women. one of them Michelle Fields. But, here is the catch. After Carolyn told this to the public, Michelle Fields took to Twitter and denied everything completely. False. I'm not one of the women in the story, and Eric Bolling was nothing but professional when I worked with him. Please stop spreading lies. So from this moment on, there is a huge possibility that this scenario is only happening because someone wants Bolling down. If you ask Carolyn, many women have been sexually harassed during their time in Fox, and they were waiting this whole time to make a complaint or accusation. This is shady, and there is no way of being true. There should be texts, photos, dates, locations and times as evidence, but so far there is nothing like this presented. Let's all do not forget the fact that this woman indeed has brought sexual harassment accusations to pretty much everybody who isn't. Trump give billions back to American taxpayers that Obama wasted. Here's where he found it. Over the years, many presidents promised many things. Sadly, only a few of those things happened. Fortunately, this is not the case with our current president. Donald Trump is a man of word, and so far everything he promised during his campaign is becoming reality. One of the most often issues that others promise to do is how they're going to lower taxes and decrease spending or cut some program that eats a good chunk of the government budget. They never did it though after entering the White House. Let's get back to Trump. He is in charge for almost 8 months, and in these past months he did, in fact, more than any other president ever. Trump is a hard-working man and so far is doing anything possible to improve the standard of the Americans, who worked hard and who were never recognized by the previous president. Trump, in fact, appreciates every single American, and he promised the same thing the previous ones promised, but this time he is actually doing the change and is cutting away the bloated and unproductive system that allows the able-bodied to mooch off of the taxpayers. The latest U.S. Department of Agriculture, USDA, statistics on food stamp enrollment now show that since President Trump took office in January 2017, more than 1.1 million Americans don't have to take welfare in the form of food stamps anymore, reports Freedom Daily. According to the newest data that came in, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, dropped to 41,496,255 in May 2017, from the USDA. This number is down from 42,691,363 in January 2017 when Trump took office. In the first months, while being president, he actually made SNAP enrollment decreased by 2.79%. Food stamp participation in 2017 has fallen to its lowest level since 2010. According to some, this is continuing in a big way. So, in short words, the current administration is repairing every single mistake and damage done to the welfare system by the previous administration. Trump, in fact, proposed to cut SNAP in his 2018 budget and informed us that he is going to expand all the work requirements for able-bodied adults receiving food stamps. Also, his cut on illegal immigration canceled their food stamps because they will be deported and they do not deserve a place in here. When it comes to Obama, his numbers are totally different than Trump's. For example, during his presidency, the number of food stamp recipients was reached by 10.7 million people, with additional 32% increase since he took office. Nearly 33,490,000 people received food stamp benefits when Obama began, and during the 8 years that number increased to 44,219,123. Which showed an increase of about 10,729,000 people. Freedom Daily also reported that federal lawmakers are also working on legislation that would seek to expand food stamp work requirements and put time limits on how long those enrolled in the food stamp program can receive benefits. Democrats lie, but numbers do not lie. From now on, the tax dollars are going to be given to those who really are willing to work and not to those who are unwilling. Over 1 million U.S. residents taken off of welfare is a great way of improving this country so far.